We're back on Lutherans Alive with Pastor Erin Smith from Good Shepherd Lutheran Church, Newcastle, working with the Youth Ministry Initiative here in our Synod. Erin, again, thanks for being with us
You're welcome.
today.
Thank you.
Maybe we could just pick up this segment by talking about how you were invited, cajoled, arm twisted to be a part of the youth ministry.
There was no arm twisting. I was invited shortly after coming to the Synod, just in sharing with a few people my background and some experience in youth ministry. Pastor Sarah Lee Faulkner that said, would you consider serving on the youth committee?
One of our assistants to the bishop,
correct,
yes.
Correct. And I thought, oh, do I want to jump into something like that right after I got here? But youth ministry has always and will continue to be a passion of mine and something that I feel is very important to the life of the Synod. So, of course, I said yes and started attending their committee meetings. And that sort of turned into brainstorming about the possibilities of an LYO. And along with Pastor Lee Faulkner, sort of thinking about what we could start and what the possibilities were in the Synod, along with the history of youth ministry that's been here and the programs that are in place.
Mm-hmm. Could you briefly just talk a little bit about what is already in place?
There's nothing that I have been directly involved in as of yet. I've been attending meetings, helping to brainstorm. Okay. We do have a junior high event and a senior high event every year. There's the Bible Bowl, which I helped to judge this past year, which brings youth groups and students from all over the Synod together to compete, memorizing Bible verses and answering trivia questions. It's really a hoot. You should see it if you haven't.
Actually, our congregation won the Super Bible Bowl
last
year.
Oh, that was you guys.
So we have experience.
Oh, yeah, well, you're old hat at that then.
And we should remind our viewers that
Sure.
if they want to start encouraging their youth, the book of the Bible study this year is 1 Samuel.
1 Samuel. Yeah.
So it's never too early to start.
Right. I'll have to write questions for that soon, so it's good times.
You can't ever argue against getting kids more familiar with their Bible.
Sure. And I think it, there seems to be such an excitement about it. When I first got to the Synod, I thought, oh, how does this go? Do kids actually participate in that? But just seeing their faces and how dedicated they were, and how motivated they themselves were just to learn that and to memorize and to go further and do well at that was amazing.
I think some of it has to do with just southwestern Pennsylvania having a competitive spirit.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Give them anything that they can compete at, and they'll jump right in there. Sure. I'm encouraged that you were open to the opportunity to be involved and to help bring some of your experience from LYO. As you think about the Lutheran Youth Organization concept of opening the opportunities for leadership and growth in that area to the youth, what do you think are the real strengths of that approach?
Youth do have the capability for leadership, and I don't think that the church has always recognized that. I think in many places we do a very good job of providing activities for youth, of thinking up things that would be fun for them to do and having them attend. But to get them to have ownership of a program, to get them to plan things, to learn to use some of their natural gifts and abilities, some of their God-given gifts and abilities for administration, for leadership, for development, just to motivate their peers. I think that that's one of the huge strengths of this program, that they not only learn skills to serve the church, but they learn leadership skills and other skills that can be used in service to the world, wherever they end up, be it as a pastor like I did or their vocation in the world.
I guess when you think about it, there are plenty of other opportunities as a young person goes through school, through Scouts, through other organizations that they may be a part of, band or whatever, where they are being encouraged as well to develop leadership abilities, to take those initiatives and to run with them. So this really does just kind of reinforce what they're already given opportunities other places.
And shows them that they have a place of leadership within the church. If we want our youth to have a relationship with the church as young adults, to show them from a very young age, from high school on, that you are a member of the church, and being a member means that you have a say, and that being a confirmed member means that you are considered an adult member of the church. and your opinion is valid and important, and you should be included in those discussions.
Translating that in this particular synod, what's your vision for the first few steps that we need to walk through to bring that up to speed, if you will?
The first few steps, I think, are already being put in place. We're trying to get the word out to as many pastors and youth leaders as we can, just to be on the lookout for one or two of their students who have leadership abilities, who might already be using that in some form in their home congregation, or maybe they were like me and didn't have really an avenue to do that. To provide us with their names, to talk, to really let us communicate with them and say, hey, here's what's going on. Would you be interested? You know, we have a Facebook group, Southwestern Pennsylvania Synod LYO on Facebook.
Yeah, we have more technological advantages now more than ever.
And ways to connect with youth and young adults that we just weren't using before. And so I think that the starting point's really going to be gathering a number of students who are motivated about this and have that leadership ability and have potential for leadership in the church. And that's been happening. We've had conversations with the 10 or 15 students who say, you know, I think this is a great idea. And I think that it's something I really want to be a part of, and keep me posted, and let's meet together, let's talk about this, what can we plan, what can we do. We've had 2 meetings so far, and we had a larger number at the first meeting because many youth directors came by themselves just to sort of feel it out and see what had happened. But there are a number of youth there that were really like, well, this is interesting. I might be in for it long term. So we're really trying to get that kind of commitment, because we want youth that will take it seriously enough to show up to meetings and to want to be involved, and not just something that, you know, my pastor's making me do this. So, and so we've had a number of meetings. We're going to have a lock-in over Christmas break for the students who did attend either one of those meetings. Not bringing on any new kids at this point, but using what we have and who we have to sort of form an outline to talk about what do we want this to look like. LYOs all over the country look very differently. Some have an executive committee of a president, a vice president, a secretary, a treasurer, and are very Robert's Rules of Order when they come to their right. Others are a little more free-form and have, you know, different subcommittees, and you know I just heard recently that the LYO that I started out in had a complete rehaul of what they looked like. They no longer have a president or anything. They have a director of outreach. They have a director of social networking. They have a director of, you know, service. So different youth that are using their abilities with different areas of ministry.
Well, that's encouraging that there can be that flexibility and that personal expression.
Because every synod's laid out differently. You know, when you go out west, the synods are huge. And even here in Southwest Pennsylvania, you know, it might take 2 hours for a kid to get to a meeting, which is certainly a time commitment. But to say, okay, how do we want to set up our meetings? Do we need to meet every month? Can we rotate it? Do we always meet at the same place? And I think there's going to be a large degree of flexibility there.
I think that bodes well.
Yes.
Yeah. We are ready for another break, so we're going to have to pause for just a moment, and we'll come back again. Thanks so much for being here.